Good evening, everybody.
Yes, good evening, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
This will be our last one, obviously, till after the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, that's that lets us know. We've been doing this for over a year now. It's our second Christmas episode.
It is, yeah. We're what, in like the mid-60s on episodes.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, we started in October of 21. So pretty cool. We did not even celebrate our 1 year anniversary.
No, we really didn't.
We're two typical men, man. We forgot the anniversary.
Yeah. Well, man, we just keep the nose to the grindstone.
That's right.
Just another week, another podcast.
That's right. Yeah, no, this will be the Christmas episode, and I hope everybody's got some cool Christmas plans. Bobby Lee's got some Christmas stories. I got a couple of little things we're going to talk about, and what's new in your arena?
Man, I guess today, of course, shortest day of the year, winter solstice, whatever.
That's right. Yep.
Tomorrow, I guess, the first full day of winter. And buddy, she's coming in with all her glory.
And I am excited. I love it.
Man, I don't. Well,
not the snow. Let me add. I don't want snow.
Well, I'm not crazy because it's supposed to be 1 here tomorrow night, like 1 degree Fahrenheit.
I hope it gets to 0.
Well, and like that's one thing, but -20 wind chills. And I look, all our animals should be fine. They're fed. They've got shelter. The cows don't have like barns to get in, but places they can get out of the wind and that sort of thing. But and it's
you put a blanket on them though, don't you?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just that is a little bit unprecedented for us, especially this early in the winter. I mean, heck, it's literally the first full day of winter.
Yeah,
it's going to be -20 wind chills. I don't know that I've ever been in a -20 wind chill.
I don't know that I have.
We've had some single-digit temperatures the last few years, but we usually get that like in February.
Well, it's that gosh damn global warming is what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Did you see? Do you follow Josh Smith on? I know you follow him on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see his thing about their temperatures?
No, but I'm sure because there's another guy. Of course, there's social media that's in. They're even further north than him in Montana. Like they're right up on the Canadian border. Which no, he's not far. I think their wind chills were like -50 a day or two ago.
Yeah, Josh I saw on Facebook actually yesterday or today he put up a picture and he was like, for all you Yellowstone fans that moved to Montana because of that show, he said, go ahead and pack your bags because this shit will send you home. And it was like the map of wind chills, and the warmest one was in like, I don't know if it's Butte or Butte, Montana.
Yeah.
Butte, but it was -38. And where he is, I'm pretty sure it was -58 or something.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, man, I'm weird. I don't know. Like, to me, I read that, I'm like, dang it, I wish ours was get that cold. Like, I live for the cold.
Yeah.
Now, it does suck busting ice for animals. That's the worst part.
Well, like, I don't mind it cold, but, like, that's a whole nother level of cold.
See, I want to go deer hunting bad now. Like, just the more horrifically bad the weather is, the worse I'm like, oh, I want to be sitting out there in it deer hunting.
Well, and part of me just like, as far as like getting out and doing chores, it just makes you feel manly.
It does, man. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Your nuts get bigger when you get out there.
Well, like, it's like the whole, your dad's brag. I walk up to school and snow uphill both ways.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, go into town or whatever. Like, hell, I've been out since 5 a.m. in this feeding.
Yeah, we've been chopping ice.
Yeah, I make sure all my animals eat before I do. The whole bragging rights and on stuff like that. And so, but yeah, I mean, I do, which I'm glad we had. We calve in the spring, or really we do winter calve. We start in February, end of February. But I bought some heifers back earlier in the fall. But it was only 3 of them, and the last one calved last Friday. And that's all I could think, because I was like, damn, I'm glad it wasn't this Friday.
Yeah, that would be brutal. Could you imagine your first days on Earth?
Yeah.
And it's -20 wind.
Well, and that's the thing, like the calf, well, that one will be less than a week old when this weather hits tomorrow night, but, I mean, he's obviously dry right now. But when they're born in that, if a mom don't get them licked off and dry, that's when you get into trouble. Which that's where, of course, tomorrow, and most people listening to this, are fully aware because they're experiencing this weather too. But we're supposed to kind of, I hope it doesn't rain because it's going to be like in the 40s tomorrow.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
It's going to drop to single digits by tomorrow night. And this precipitation is supposed to get here right about dark or late afternoon. I'm like, man, I hope it doesn't start raining, and get everything soaking wet and then get cold, because that's hard on the animals. If it just snows on them, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
And then they got, like where I am, like they got hills and ridges everywhere. They got plenty of spots they can get down out of the wind.
Well, that's what Friday morning. You'll catch me in a deer stand.
Yeah, well, I'll be on my way to work. that's what, and that's just already. And because we're open no matter what.
Yeah.
We have to be. We have animals in the hospital. Even if nobody shows up, as far as for appointments or anything, there's still stuff there that has to be taken care of.
Open on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Now we of course we're closed certain days, but we're still somebody is there.
Yeah.
But we already have employees like on Monday. We're like, what are we gonna do? Like, well, we're gonna wait until Friday comes before we really worry about it. Like
the winter death is coming.
Like currently they're predicting like a half inch of snow.
Yeah.
Which, the joke about us in the South, like it doesn't take but a dusting to totally throw off the entire transportation.
Now, when was it? Because I got a buddy in Idaho that was making fun of us about that. And in Idaho, they've already gotten a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Like he's been putting up pictures, sent us pictures. They were getting snow like a month ago, maybe even longer. And he was laughing about it, and I said, well, now, it was like just a couple years ago, we had like 12 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Because I had never seen so much snow. But it was seriously, I think we had about 12 or so inches.
Oh, yeah.
What was that, 2 years ago?
So I remember because it came in on Valentine's Day because we had some friends in town, and they were maybe going to stay even until like that Monday. But I remember Valentine's Day was on a Sunday. I think that would have been 20. This year would have been, I believe that was 21. So not even quite 2 years ago.
Well, I think that is right, because I'm pretty sure.
It was 21. Yeah,
okay.
It was only, this coming February will have been 2 years. But
you sparked my memory talking about your friends being here, because and he listens to the show. I'll give a shout out to Philip Law, that's been on the other show, on Living Fully Loaded. He actually texted me today, and he was talking about, he said, man, I got some cold freaking weather coming your way. And he lives in Florida. And he said they were going to see 19 degrees.
Well, I've got a client, actually. They lived here forever. Still, they moved down to Gulfport, Mississippi, which is, of course, right there on the coast. And she was back in town, and she still likes to bring dogs to us if she can, for planned stuff. And since she was coming back in town for holidays, she said I forget how cold it was going to get, but I was like, dang, I did not realize it was going to get that cold even that much further south of us.
Yeah.
But it was I remember because our vet clinic, of course you know this, but we're right there on a 4-lane highway, major highway. And I remember that day because it came in like that Sunday night into that Monday.
Yeah.
The highway, which normally stays open no matter what, had like 10, 12 inches of snow, and it dumped so fast. It had shut everything down.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure that's when I was laughing, because we did the security training at the church, and Philip did it.
Yeah.
And he's from Florida, and he was in town, and it was like when the snow, I think, was hitting.
Yeah.
And because we had the training like that next morning, and I had to go pick him up at the hotel because he was like, bro, I don't know how to drive in this.
But there is something fun about it. You talking about like you want to get out in it?
Yeah.
Actually, my buddy that was in town then, he's like a hardcore like fitness fanatic, like literally does not miss a day. He's on a streak of like 3 or 4 years where he has not missed working out.
Yeah.
And his rule is he either does an hour-long workout, or if he's somewhere like here out of town, he runs a minimum of a 10K.
Does he ever have like the stomach bug?
Man, I'd have to ask him, but he's fanatical about it.
Yeah.
And so we got up that Sunday morning. It was right at 0. I remember and he and I, because I was running a fair bit then, more than I have this past year. And,
Yeah.
we ran a 10K. It was 0.
Zero. See, there's something cool about it. You just
or maybe the windshield had it down to 0. But anyway, it was like single digits. And I was growing a beard out at the time, and he's got a beard. It was
icy.
was just awesome. Like,
Yeah.
And it wasn't that bad of a run. Because, I
Yeah.
mean, the first mile or so sucks till you get warmed up, and then you're warmed up, and it's just, I mean, your face is cold. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took a picture when we got done and had all the frost in our beard.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it was kind of neat.
Oh yeah, man. That's I don't know. Well, there is something about it, man. You feel like well, I mean, that's how I am with deer hunting. I mean, I killed my best buck in the rain. And I killed that, I guess, like 10-point or whatever that I had when I had Levi with me. It was freezing cold and it was snowing and it was wet. And like, I don't know, there's a part of me that takes pride in being like, not many people are out here in this kind of weather.
I don't want it to wet in the cold. And that's where, like, if the cold weather tomorrow gets here and it's just all snow, I'm fine with that. But I got to thinking, like, because it always somewhat annoys me, which all kinds of stuff with the government wasting money annoys me. They've salted our roads.
Yeah.
But pretty much every time we get a winter storm, it starts off raining.
Yeah, and just washes
it's a
that
front
away.
coming through, of course.
Yeah.
It rains usually for 2 or 3 hours, then slowly changes over to sleet and snow. Something like that. It just washes all that off. But anyway, so I got to think, I was like, yeah, it's always like that. So I'm hoping tomorrow that, we don't get, a bunch of rain, which I don't think it's supposed to be a bunch of precipitation one way or the other. But don't rain, get the animals wet, and then get cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So.
no, I'm with you, man. The same way. All I can think about is my Traco getting wet and cold out there.
Right. Well, by this time next week, it's going to be basically back to these temperatures. Like mild again.
Yeah.
I think we're getting back even into the 60s maybe by next weekend.
It can't let us acclimate.
But I got thinking too. So of course we're not supposed to. After tomorrow, we won't be above freezing again until the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
So if we do get a snow, in which
Might have a white
they
Christmas.
backed off, so this will be my 40th Christmas, and I've never had a white Christmas. I was like, this could be it, and it looks like.
Have we never had a white Christmas?
Not that I know of. Now somebody may correct me, but I don't.
Okay, we might not have.
Cause that's what my dad, and I mean this is no secret. He'd always say, you ain't gonna get a white Christmas. It's more likely to snow in March than it is December.
Yeah.
And we've had some big March snows.
I actually was going through old pictures today and found some March snows on my phone.
09, because that was the year I graduated and got married.
Yeah.
I was on my break during my clinical year, and we were here, and my wife and fiance at the time had a wedding shower. It snowed. It was one of them. We got 8 or 10 inches. It snowed its butt off. Some of her family was here. They even shut down Interstate 40 for a while. Yeah. It was just one of those where it just dumped so fast.
Well, and I'd laugh. I always do laugh at the people that hate on us when we get snow. It's like, we're just not set up for it. There's no reason for us to be set up for it because we don't normally get that.
Yeah. Which I know Josh wasn't making fun of us, but somebody in Montana, all right, I want to see y'all all of a sudden have 105-degree temperature with 100% humidity in the middle of July, and you get out there and start chopping your garden.
Yeah.
Because you ain't used to that.
Yeah.
It's like we ain't used to getting a foot of snow.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and I will say this I'll never forget when we were in South Carolina, it was in February 2 or 3 years ago. There was quite a few people from Montana there, and they were all freezing their balls off. And I was like, it's not even that cold. And they were like, this dang humidity, this moisture.
See, I've talked the same thing. People, because it's a dry cold.
Yeah. See, it was like in the 30s at South Carolina.
But we have so much moisture in the air.
Yep.
I've talked to other guys, they'd be visiting and be like, this time of year, and be like, oh, y'all are used to this. And they'd say, no, it's different than the cold we have.
Yeah. So basically, we're just the hardest sons of bitches there are in Tennessee.
Yeah, there's no crueler environment you can live in than what we've got right here.
That's right. Well, I will say on one last thing on that. Do you follow? I know you follow Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Did you see his ice bath thing that he's got? Did you see his video the other day?
I have seen some of his videos, but I hadn't seen anything.
Well, he had this awesome one, and it had like a gloss. It almost looked kind of like it favored this tabletop, but it was the top of it. And he popped it off, and it was like it is an aluminum tub, like a trough, but it's got this thing built around it, and it's insulated, and it keeps it. And it had ice in it, and he had to like bust the ice, and he got in it for like 3 minutes. And I mean, he talked. Man, I was like, I want one of those.
Phew.
How much you think? Like it was about the size of this table, and it was the trough part in there, but it's got it definitely has some sort of. I mean, I'm sure it has something in it to circulate the water, to keep it fresh, but it maintained. But I mean, it was seriously chunks of ice in there. But I was like, if it's I'm curious how much you think the thing probably was.
Couple $1,000s.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, man, maybe that'd be something to be cool to have one day. So I looked it up.
I would get something like that on a whim and never use it.
See, but I even take cold showers.
I will do that to myself every now and then. I'll try to get into because you hear about all these health benefits.
Yeah.
Well, same reason they do the ice baths, and it's just.
Well, it was $12,000, so I will not be adding one of those to LH Farms.
Damn.
But it looked invigorating, man. Like, I mean, it was seriously like it was big chunks of ice. Like that water was cold.
Yeah. Yeah, so I know some people that they say they just take cold shower. Like that's what they.
Yeah,
like they don't even know any different.
That's typically I alternate back and forth. If I lift first, I don't take one because they claim it slows muscle growth. Like you're supposed to do the cold shower before you lift weights, which doesn't work out for me because I don't shower before I go lift weights. So
because then you're gonna have to take
do it again.
Showers, yeah.
All right. Well, before we get into any topic here, I pulled up the poll. So for people that follow me on Instagram, I ran the ultimate Christmas movie showdown. That was kind of what I called it. If you don't follow me, there you go. I ran this poll, and I paired up movies randomly against each other, and I'll run down through it here until we get to the end. I'll tell you which one won it. So again, I'll actually tell you how this began, because the first movie that I did was A Christmas Story versus White Christmas. I don't like White Christmas. It actually began because...
I'm pretty sure I've never even seen that.
Well, it's a musical from like the 40s or something.
Musicals.
I do too.
Like
I don't like it at all. It's a terrible movie. My wife, when she watches it, I make sure to go deer hunt or do something else.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine said... He actually was bashing A Christmas Story, and he was like, that's the most overrated movie of all time. He was like, not even just as a Christmas movie, overall, that's probably the most overrated film.
Damn.
And I was like, that is the most moronic thing I've ever heard. And he said, White Christmas is the best Christmas movie, hands down.
I can't say because I've never seen it. But
well, it's not. Yeah. So that's how this began, which... The poll went about how I expected. A Christmas Story got 82% of the votes to 18. I mean, it absolutely shit on White Christmas. And so then I was like, this is kind of fun. So I started throwing some more in there. So the next one was The Grinch versus Polar Express. Now, I did the Jim Carrey Grinch. Now, I like both those, but man, I love Polar Express. I'm like, my kids love it. I haven't gotten into it. Do you watch it much?
I have seen it. I don't know that I've ever watched the whole thing. Like, I don't know. That's not one I'm going to sit down and enjoy, though. Man,
see, I love it. Like, I actually think I voted for it over The Grinch, but The Grinch pretty handedly beat it.
Which I'm not the movie guy. I'm not a huge Grinch fan.
Yeah.
But I like to point out to everybody that the Grinch was the victim in the story. Like,
well, yeah, they bullied him. He was bullied.
Like they made him who he was.
Yeah.
Like, and I know we live in a society where everybody wants to be a victim.
Which that's typically the case with most villains, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, maybe not all, but right.
They're usually victimized somehow, and then they turn into this supervillain.
And I'll admit, I kind of, arrived at that opinion because I'd heard other people talk. They were arguing about Die Hard's not a Christmas movie because in a Christmas movie you need you need somebody who, like, has a realization, and then, that goes from being a villain to a hero, like the Grinch, obviously, or whatever. And like that doesn't even happen in Die Hard,
Yeah. Well, Bruce Willis says Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
I saw where he said that. My argument is like, it's not even like that movie takes place just like during Christmas time. Like it's all centered around a Christmas party. Like,
yeah. Yeah, you're a Die Hard as a Christmas movie guy.
I think I would consider it a Christmas movie. I mean, it's an action movie too, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Are y'all going to have a Nakatomi Plaza Christmas party?
I mean, I don't have one planned, but I wouldn't.
That'd be fun to do.
Yeah.
Well, the next film set was the Santa Claus versus It's a Wonderful Life. Have you seen both of those?
I actually watched the Santa Claus just a week or two ago.
That's a classic one. I love it.
Dude, I'm not too big a man to admit I cried at one point.
Really?
I
Which
teared
part?
up just a little bit. Whenever, of course, he's become the Santa Claus, and he's given his ex-wife and like her new husband like the gifts they never got as kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, man. It hit me.
That
I
part
started
hit
watching
you.
my kids. And,
What was the gift
like
that you never
bawling.
got?
Well, I don't know that I have one, but this is like for them because it was like magical, and like all of a sudden they realized he really was Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, the goofy dude. He got the weenie whistle.
That's right. Yep. Yep.
And she got some board game or something.
Yeah.
Dating game or something.
Man, that's not the part I was imagining you to say.
I don't know, man. It was just like my kid, Ike Willis, was like sitting in my lap or something about it. It just hit me all right. And
Dang. Well, have
I
you?
had a tear roll down my cheek.
Yeah. Hey, well, like I said, man, I feel like that's once you've achieved, like, you're man enough whenever you can cry at a movie.
Yeah. And I was like, dang. And I've still never seen, what did you say?
It's a Wonderful Life.
I remember last year you giving me hell about that and said, you want to blow your brains out. And I was like,
I was about to say it again. Yeah.
I'm not going to watch it.
Well, I think it's one to see because it is a classic.
I don't have a need to feel depressed.
It's got to see my wife. That's her favorite one. I think It's a Wonderful Life is probably her favorite Christmas movie. And her argument would be it has a very good ending. And it does have a good ending. Like it all comes together at the end, but it is like the worst movie of all time. Like this, George Bailey has the worst luck of any human being the whole movie. You're like, is there anything ever going to go right for this poor guy? So
you might have convinced me that I have to watch it, but
I mean, it is a classic. I mean, I feel like we will watch it before time is up.
yeah.
The Santa Claus, that one beat It's a Wonderful Life. Then the next one was Elf versus Christmas Vacation. And I figured this one would go this way.
Well, see, when you put the poll up, because I voted on all of them, I thought that was unfair to pair those up in the first round. Because I was like, man, like those are two of my favorites. I've watched 3 Christmas movies so far this year. I already told you the Santa Claus, and then I've watched Elf and
Christmas Vacation.
And yeah, I mean those are 2 of my. Christmas Vacation is probably my number 1, but Elf is probably top 5. Will Ferrell is just like when we watched it the other night. I was like, he's just so damn good.
He is.
Like,
He's hilarious.
especially playing a role like that. Like that. That is who he is. Which I mean, I guess that's the character he plays in pretty much everything.
Yeah. Well, I like Elf. I like Elf, but Christmas Vacation just,
Dude,
it's
just,
no comparison to me.
My wife, I think, hates it just because I like it so much. Just because the whole time we're watching, I was like, we actually had it on TV tonight, but we were doing stuff. I mean, oh, you got to watch this part. But I was saying this like every 5 minutes, like this is the best part.
Yeah, she's already seen it.
Yeah, she's seen it, but like I can quote. I mean, and every time you watch it, you're like, oh, I got to remember that line because I love quoting it like just randomly.
Oh yeah, it's great. It is great. Well, that's how. Let me see here. In honor of that, no, I'm gonna have something that I'll close it out with at the end of this episode.
Well, my daughter actually, for their school program, they were doing like the theme of it was like Christmas around the world, and her class sang Mele Kalikimaka.
Oh yeah, I was jamming that for the kids last night.
And like as soon as I hear that, all I can picture is Clark standing there in the window staring out at the pool.
Yeah, the girl out there. Yeah.
And well, yeah, of course it's the whole family at first, and then he
the chick
drifts. We were watching that. Willis, my 5-year-old, was like, "What is she doing?" And like she's like taking her bathing suit off, and of course there's no actual nudity, but I was like, "Oh, she's just changing," you know. I was trying to, I was like, it gets slightly inappropriate there.
That is one movie after we watch it, because we watched it the other night with the kids, and I told Marcy, I was like, every time we watch this, I'm always like, we might not should have let the kids watch this one, because he even drops the F-bomb at one point in it.
Not the language isn't super rough. Yeah,
Yeah.
Every now and then yeah.
But that is a classic.
There are so many great just one line.
Well, that's what I'm going to close the episode. Don't let me forget. When we get to the end of the episode, I'm going to close it with a quote from that one. I just saved it. Then the next one was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Clay version versus Home Alone. Now, I'm a sucker for the old ones like that. I love those old movies.
Well, and I don't consider that as one I've watched this year, but I have put that on TV for the kids, like while I was cooking dinner. And so I guess, heck, technically I might have watched
parts of it.
A half dozen Christmas movies.
There you go.
Already.
Well,
because The Grinch has been on at my house, but I have not really even watched it.
Yeah. Well, I knew that one. You know, there were several of these when I paired them up. I was like, man, because I tried to do it real random. And Home Alone is just, that's a heavy hitter, you know, like.
I'm pretty sure, because I was listening to another podcast, and they were kind of doing the same thing we're doing now during Christmas. And they were doing some trivia. I'm pretty sure Home Alone was the correct answer to the highest grossing Christmas movie of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe that I can see that.
A lot of nostalgia in there for me, just because that was, I mean, I don't know what year that came out, early 90s.
Was it 94?
Yeah. I mean, I would have been 11 in 94, so that would have been like prime Christmas time for a kid. So
and even Home Alone 2 is actually pretty darn good.
How many of them are there?
There's like 4 or 5, but there's only the first 2 are with Macaulay Culkin.
Okay. So then
I only count the first 2.
But then that's me too. But yeah, the Lost in New York.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that one was for a sequel was really good.
It was, and even you know, it was funny. People were petitioning to have Trump removed. You know, Trump is in it for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He's like tells the kid where to go. People were like petitioning to have him removed because they're morons. But so
hell, Trump was a Democrat back then.
He was, he was on their side. Hillary Clinton was probably staying there with him. So Home Alone beat Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And then we had Charlie Brown Christmas versus Jingle All the Way. Now, that one was kind of a wild card I threw in there. I like Charlie Brown Christmas, but I had some people, and I like Jingle All the Way, but I didn't really rank it in the top.
I think, obviously, you're an Arnold fan. I remember going to see Jingle All the Way at the theater and thinking that was a terrible movie. And I don't even know what year it came out, but like I couldn't have even been that old. But I was like, that was like one of the least memorable films I've ever seen.
It's not one again, and like I'm an Arnold guy, but it's not one that I had people like, man, what about Jingle All the Way? So I was like, well, all right. So I put it up against Charlie Brown Christmas.
We actually last year watched. And it was kind of like Home Alone. It was like Jingle All the Way, like part 6 or something. Is
that with Larry the Cable Guy?
We watched the Larry the Cable Guy one. It was like a Hallmark type. You know, never made it to a theater anywhere. And it was like the plot. You know, you and I could sit here and write it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was decent. You know?
Yeah, I've seen it, but I had never watched it. Like I've seen it on stuff.
It was one of those like the kids were wanting to watch a Christmas movie, and so I was like, all right, and it kept my attention for 2 hours or whatever. And it was like, okay, everybody saw the end coming, but
he dies. He dies a terrible death in a car crash, don't he?
It was something like that.
I will tell you a funny thing. My kids have been watching Duck Dynasty.
They've gotten into that.
They have gotten into Duck Dynasty.
Yeah,
it was on Hulu.
I mean, that's good and wholesome.
It is. Well, that's why I was like, there's something for you to watch. And, they love it. Like, they were like, hey, they came in there and they're like, they shot a beaver. They shot a beaver earlier. And I'm like, all right. But no, so Charlie Brown Christmas beat Jingle All the Way. So then we get into round 2. Now, I messed up and I did not have the proper, I needed one more. So I had to add one later on to the bracket to keep it even. And man, I was sweating bullets in round 2 because I put the names in a hat. I was like, all right, I got to make sure that there's no I'm not trying to pair up because
Yeah.
look, I'm a Christmas Story guy. That's my number one Christmas movie. So I had to make sure that I wasn't like putting it up against something that I just thought it would beat.
Yeah.
So I drew from a hat, and I'll be damned if it didn't get paired against the Santa Claus to start round 2.
See, that's a tough one.
That one, and it was 49% Santa Claus, 51% A Christmas Story.
And I would probably lean A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
But I've got the recency bias of the Santa Claus just made me cry. I mean,
That's true.
That's pretty damn
That is.
strong.
Did you watch Jack Frost with Michael Keaton? Man, that's one that one is one that can get me because he dies. He's trying to get home. He's a musician. This was, I don't know, probably in the late 90s, early 2000s when this movie came out.
Yeah.
And he's a musician. He's misses a lot of stuff with his kid. And it's snowing really bad one night. It's like Christmas, and he's trying to get home to his family, and he has a car wreck, and he gets killed. Well, I can't remember what happens, but he comes back as the snowman. He's Jack Frost, and he's like getting to spend time with his son, and his son knows it's him and all this. Well, then at the end of the movie, and I'm giving spoilers, the movie's 30 years old, so I don't give a shit, but like he's got to go because he's starting to like melt. And that damn part, man, that movie rips my heart out every time.
That does sound brutal.
It is. It is terrible. I'm going to tear up thinking about it. But I didn't put it in the list because it's so sad I don't watch it anymore. But so A Christmas Story did beat the Santa Claus barely. It was like by 2 votes or something.
Yeah.
And then we got The Grinch. It smoked the doors off of Charlie Brown Christmas, which I was a little disrespected. I was like, man,
Yeah.
Charlie Brown Christmas, that's...
Well, people just kind of dismiss it because everybody watches it when you're a kid, or at least folks our age did. And then, yeah.
Does it not get... It don't get the respect it deserves today, I don't think.
Probably doesn't.
Charlie Brown, man.
Because it's definitely more of a classic than, especially the Jim Carrey version of The Grinch.
Yeah. See, if I was going to pick A Christmas Story to go head-to-head with somebody in round 2, I would have put it against Charlie Brown Christmas because I was like, it'll beat it pretty good after seeing how it did. This one was pretty tough. Home Alone versus Christmas Vacation was the other one.
See, that's another one. See, Christmas Vacation had a tough road.
It did. It never had easy
Because
challenges.
it went up against Elf and Home Alone, and I would put all of those would probably be in my top 5.
Yeah. And it beat Christmas, it beat Home Alone 55% to 45%. And I mean, that right there was the two, like honestly, when I was thinking about it, I was like, there's a good chance Home Alone and Christmas Vacation might be the final 2.
Oh, that they could have been. Like again, those 3 I could even say would be in my, that might be my top 3. I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah. Well, then the wild card I had to throw in was Miracle on 34th Street, the classic, which that one's good. And then I don't care for Nightmare Before Christmas at all, but I had to put it in there.
See, I don't think I've seen either of those.
Well, Miracle on 34th Street is not bad. But so, all right, we then get to round 3. And A Christmas Story got lucky and went up against Miracle on 34th Street and beat the shit out of it, like 86%. And then The Grinch went up against Christmas Vacation, which again, I was like, that's a pretty good battle. So Christmas Vacation, and it beat the hell out of The Grinch, 70%. Let's see. Did I skip one? No. Okay. So then the final 2 was Christmas Vacation versus A Christmas Story. And Christmas Vacation beat it pretty bad. Like I was like, I mean, it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit.
Say Christmas Vacation would probably be my number 1.
Yeah.
Which I know we did our top 5s last year, and I don't remember what I had said at that time, but yeah, Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Elf, A Christmas Story would make my top 5, and probably the Santa Claus right now, just because again the recency bias there with that one, but. Yeah, Christmas Vacation is just Randy Quaid and Chevy Chase. Like they Cousin Eddie, man. Like that.
Did you watch the second one?
You know, when I was looking it up to start it tonight, I saw the number 2. I was like, I was tempted to watch it because I don't think I've ever seen number 2.
I hadn't either. I don't know. It don't look too great.
No, I'm sure I mean, there's no way it's nearly as good.
Chevy Chase ain't even in it, I don't think. Ain't it just Randy Quaid?
He must be in it because, like, on the it's like the poster or whatever, the picture, it looked like it was him and
Yeah.
you know, some of the other cast.
I think that was when he was on meth and was getting like going crazy. You know, he was squatting in houses.
I remember hearing that. But he crushed like there.
Oh, he is.
Cousin Eddie is one of the greatest characters on any movie ever of all time. Like he could not have played that role any better. Like that was just classic.
Oh, it was, and he had his redemptive moment there at the end with the boss.
Oh yeah,
just like he's actually, you know, I got to thinking just about that. I mean, he's essentially Cousin Eddie in Independence Day. You remember? He's the pilot, and I mean, he's kind of the drunk, redneck dude. But then at the end, he's like, back. "I'm back!" Yes, he goes flying in there.
Everybody thought he was crazy, and like, hell, I don't even remember what his character's name was in Independence Day, but crazy old whatever.
Yeah,
he's been abducted by aliens. You know, like, well, nobody was questioning him by the end of the movie.
Yeah. But, so yeah, he always kind of played that. Well, before we shift gears here, I do got one. I'll tell you the worst film that I've ever seen. You got me thinking on the tearjerker, and this is. Did you ever see Courageous?
No.
All right. Well, you know,
if you have to ask me, did I ever see? The answer is probably always no.
Well, it was that church made them. It's a Christian film. They made Facing the Giants. Courageous, Fireproof, War Room.
See, Fireproof's the one on Marriage. Yeah, I've seen that one.
All right, well, Courageous, it was actually like, all right, Facing the Giants was so cheesy, it was almost unbearable. They got better as they made more. Courageous it's actually about dads, like being a father. And, man, whenever we saw it, before I had kids, it wasn't that bad. Man, we had kids. Oh, dude, 1883, I think, is the only other show that's made me cry. Like, at the ending of 1883, Marcy came and was like, "Good God," and I'm like, "Get out!" Like, you know, but man, in Courageous, this dude's daughter, what happened? His daughter's like 7, and she's at her friend's house, and she's in a car wreck, and she gets killed. And he's got this. She wanted him to dance with her in this parking lot. This song came on the radio that's like her favorite song. And she gets out of the truck and she's like, "Dance with me." And he's like, "I'm not dancing with you." And dude, there's this scene after she's dead where he goes out here and he parks and he just turns the music on. He just gets out and he just starts dancing. And it is the worst tearjerker son of a bitch I've ever seen in my life. Like I'm talking bawling like a baby watching this part. It is brutal, man. Like, it's such a great movie, but it is such a damn hard, like that part just rips your heart out.
It sounds like it. Well, and I know we're going to move on from the movie thing, but it made me think of something.
I'm always good to talk movies.
Well, and I don't want to, just get mired in this, but I'll pull it on one of your. Have you ever seen Tangerine?
I've heard of that. What is that one about?
So I had like Googled top best Christmas movies because I was trying to watch Christmas movies with the kids. And I was like, there's something that I'm not thinking of because I'm not the movie guy.
Yeah.
So the number 4, this is a Rotten Tomatoes list, which I know, like I probably should have known then. The number 4 movie is Tangerine. And I'll admit, I haven't seen it, so I can't say it's terrible. But here's the synopsis.
Oh, gosh.
After hearing that her boyfriend/pimp cheated on her while she was in jail, a transgender sex worker and her best friend set out to find him and teach him and his new lover a lesson. Which I'm like, how the hell is that a Christmas movie?
I was going to say, that's the number 4 Christmas movie?
Number 4 on a top 100 list of Christmas movies.
Jeez, that's some bullshit. That's a bunch of load of crap.
What? I was like, all right, this is, which, I mean, everybody, you see the memes about, Netflix and all these, like Netflix can't wait until the Russian-Ukraine war is over so they can have a movie or a TV series about a
trainee in
transgender, Russian dwarf soldier who falls in love with a Hispanic, Ukraine. You know, that didn't make any sense. But like, throws every single minority tag, whatever they can on whatever, for it to be a. But I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah.
Wow.
Which their whole like.
You watched it, I'm assuming, after reading that.
I did not. Which like. The Miracle on 34th Street was number 3. Like, there's some legit Christmas movies in the list.
But how the heck did Tangerine make it on the list?
I was like, first of all, like, I guess I'd have to watch it to see if it really is a Christmas movie, which Die Hard made their top 10. So,
is Harry Potter on there?
The top 10 includes The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's a Wonderful Life comes in at number 10. But yeah, there's like a lot of these. I'm like, I don't even know that.
Well, that's
A Christmas Story makes the top 20. You know, there are some legit Christmas movies on there, but I was like,
how in the hell? There ain't no way that a movie about a tranny and her killing her pimp or whatever. I don't know if this was just like
one person's opinion or if it was like a collection of people, but anyway, we'll move on from that. I didn't want to.
Well, that's hilarious. That's typical. Well, that's how It's a Wonderful Life is kind of. I mean, Dad, I remember we were talking about it one time, and he said it kind of reminded him of, I think he said the movie was called Grapes of Wrath, and it's a real old movie.
Yeah.
Have you? Well, no, you haven't. And so, and I think it has to do with during the Great Depression. And he said that this was back when they lived in the house across from the shop, the little old White House. And like his buddy, I think it was his old roommate in college, was like, had come over to their house and watched the movie with him and Mom. And it was Grapes of Wrath. And he said that the movie goes off. He said his buddy was like, well, all right, I'm going to go home and kill myself. like I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't have a desire to watch movies that make me feel that way.
No, but see, Marcy always is like, because my favorite movies, the whole family gets slaughtered. Like, she's like, because I'll be like, why do you want to watch these sad movies? And then I'll be like, let's watch Gladiator, let's watch Braveheart, Mad Max. And then literally every one of the Punisher, every one of those movies, the family gets brutally murdered. And she's like, your movies are terrible. She's like, they're worse than mine.
Yeah, but they get like redemption.
That's what I said. I said, but yours, the people die and there's no like, nobody gets killed because of their death. Like mine, they go on like a murderous killing spree and make up for it.
Yeah.
So that's our Christmas movie wrap. Mine, the ultimate one per the Instagram poll was A Christmas Vacation.
I could agree with that.
You know, and I'm okay with it. Like I said, my favorite is A Christmas Story. Christmas Vacation is probably a very, very close second for me. Clark Griswold is just undefeated.
Yeah. He's pretty great. But
he is.
But, yeah, and kind of tying it in a little more to ag, and I didn't even really go searching for this to be a topic or anything to talk about, but Christmas tree farming. I kind of came across an article talking about that, and it brought up some neat perspectives on Christmas tree farms and why we should be buying real trees, which I'll pat myself on the back. We do have a real tree in our house. We've just never, my wife has always wanted a real tree, and I'm like, well, heck yeah. But but you don't think about like tree farming when you think about farming. At least I don't, you know.
No, I don't either.
But so that sent me down the rabbit hole of like looking up statistics, and actually I saw on one site said 47 different states. Another one said actually all 50 states Christmas trees are grown. But roughly 20 million trees, and some of this was a little bit old. It was like 2014, are sold. I believe it was $336 million, which that must be like the wholesale. Because obviously that one comes out to like less than $20 a tree. And I can tell you I paid a lot more than that for mine.
What does a tree cost?
So the one we bought, I think we paid right at like $100. You could get like a smaller one for maybe in the 75, 80, and you could have gotten a bigger one, spending a little more, which we've cut down our own Christmas tree on the farm for several years. This is actually the first year in a while we've actually gone and bought one. But like 178,000 acres, 60 to 70 million trees are planted each year.
Dang.
Which, when you think about that, like great for the environment, like it really is. And about 100,000 jobs. And we export a bunch of trees.
Huh.
We export to China, Japan, Middle East, Mexico.
China.
Yeah.
They use a lot of Christmas trees in China.
Well, I kind of got to think, I guess, there are some Christian areas or,
Yeah.
parts of China.
I figured they'd like shoot them if they saw them with a Christmas tree.
Yeah, I don't know, but then I had found kind of another, or kind of the original article I guess I had stumbled across. It's talking about, obviously it's better for the environment. Most of the fake trees are made in China, which is shocker. And so they were just saying like, hey,
Support America.
so I was like, you know what? It's probably too late this year for everybody. Probably by the time they listen to this, probably already had their Christmas tree up for 3 or 4 weeks. But I was like, hey, and of course, a real tree is 100% biodegradable.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people. One of my buddies always wants mine to put in a pond for
Bass.
fish structure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And normally I leave it laying there in the side of my yard for like 6 months, and he never comes to get it.
You got to be talking about Lee.
It is like, I'm like, dude, I'm not taking it to your house and throwing it in your pond. Like, but here it is. You can pick it up anytime.
Well, speaking on the biodegradable thing, that's why so many murders are committed at Christmas tree farms.
See, you mentioned that to me earlier before we were recording, and I didn't even know what you were talking about.
Yeah, there's a pretty staggering statistic that, gosh, I can't even remember. It was a substantially high percentage of homicides are discovered at Christmas tree farms because of the biodegradable in the soil. Like that, something to do with the soil.
Really? Well, see, I wouldn't even.
Yeah, no, I just made that completely up.
Because everything that I've read, like they do a lot of pruning. Like it's not like.
Yeah, they're stepping over some dead bodies.
Yeah.
No, I thought about riding it out even more. I was gonna channel my inner Theo Vaughn and just really roll with it. And I was like, I was running out of the next layer.
Okay.
So
yeah, because I'm thinking that would work if it was somewhere where they planted the trees, they didn't come back for
maybe
7
we're onto
years.
something.
Because the average tree, I did come across that stat. Takes
7 years?
Anywhere from
Dang.
it was anywhere from 3 to 15 years or something, with the average being 7. But
I had you going for a minute there.
yeah, I was like, oh wow, this is crazy.
Damn, there's a lot of dead bodies out there.
Wow,
There's some DNA in your tree.
putting a real damper on the Christmas holiday. Yeah.
I wonder how profitable a Christmas tree farm is.
I don't know. Apparently,
Do they
There's
stagger plant them so that they have they don't wipe out their whole supply in one go?
so it actually, I think it's. Well, I'd found one statistic, or it was talking about how many trees they plant per acre, and it was a bunch, way more than.
We know we
I
used to
would've thought.
have one on Holly Grove or Indian Creek or whatever.
Yeah, well, I remember as a kid, in elementary school, we went to a Christmas tree farm for a field trip, but they obviously they plant a whole bunch. Some of them just don't make it.
Yeah.
Or they thin out the ones that don't look as good.
They plant them by hand.
I would say, I would imagine. I'm not that maybe some of the bigger ones are more automated, but I would imagine a lot of them do
Yeah.
plant by hand.
Where we're putting the farm store, that's one of the things we plan on having is Christmas trees.
Oh yeah. Well, I bought my tree this year because unfortunately, looking at this one website that had all these statistics, the biggest percentage of them are bought at big box stores. About 29%.
Of real trees?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Places like Walmart, Home Depot.
did you get to cut yours down yourself?
No, see, that was number 2. Is go to a choose and cut tree farm. It's 27%. Then it's a retail lot, a nursery, a nonprofit group, online, other. We went to Jones Orchard and got ours. So
Yeah.
For people not around here, just a local, you'd say a farmer's market or
Yeah.
vegetable stand. That's what I told my wife. We knew we probably just weren't going to have time to go find one to cut on the farm, which we probably would have. It doesn't take that long. We just load the family and go out there. But I told her, I said, yeah, I'm not going to, nothing is Lowe's or Home Depot. I was like, I'm not buying one there. I was like, we're going to find a local group which they didn't grow them there, of course, but still, it's a local small business that's selling them. And, but yeah, no, I think something like that, definitely.
That's what we've said. We would most likely have to bring them in, but yes, sell some Christmas trees.
Yeah. Which like the Brighton High School FFA sold them at one time. And I
Yeah.
remember, like, when we first got married, we would go up there and get ours because, yeah, supporting the local group, fundraising. And, but I don't think they do it anymore.
I don't know that they do either. Yeah, I was trying to think. Like I said, used to, it was a bunch on, like I said, in that little farm on Indian Creek, but they ain't had Christmas trees on that in a while. And actually, it's for sale. They got it for sale now. So
I think the one we actually went to it's been elementary school, so it's been 30 years ago, but I think it was in Shelby County, actually. But I don't think they do anymore because my wife has looked it up. And I think there's one in North Mississippi.
Yeah.
So that's the closest, like, farm we can go to if we really want that experience. I think that was when we were like, well, we can drive just down the road to our other farm. And which I've cut some on the farm where I live now, but the farm we bought 3 or 4 years ago got a bunch of cedars, and for 3 or 4 years we cut
you could
them there.
fly your drone around and find one, keep you from having to walk all
Well, I
over.
remember last year there were 2 or 3 trees, and I was like, that's a good prospect for the future. But we went and bought one this year.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, that's our Christmas breakdown. Movies, Christmas tree thing. It's fun. That's to close out. Let's see. Well, that won't close out the year. We'll actually have one more episode for 2023.
We'll have to have our New Year's, like, we'll have to come up with some yearly countdown. Isn't that what everybody does for their New Year's?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Yeah.
Top whatever for the year. But yeah, I don't know. We don't necessarily have to do that, but yeah, we got one more next week.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, we'll ask if you're tuning in on YouTube here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and reach out to us, talkdirtpodcast.com, shoot us a message, anything. And again, if you would wear a hat or wear a shirt of ours, let us know, because we're kind of sitting on go here, but we want to hear from you guys. Let us know if you'll rock the merch. So
let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
All right.
Made in America.
So,
oh man, you got me on the spot here.
Yeah. I almost forgot it. But yeah, a small
Well, you
little
won't
kiss.
get yours until the other night.
Totally fine. But I was like, this is too perfect. When I saw this, I was like, that has Logan's name written on it. And it's made in America. And so I was like, yep, we're doing this.
Oh man, I already like the name of the company here,
Yeah.
Ballistic Ink.
Yeah, Ballistic Ink, which I'll talk about them as he's opening. Make all kinds of graphic tees. Most of them, as the name would kind of imply, very firearms, Second Amendment,
Yeah.
libertarian.
The West wasn't one with a registered gun. Now that's what I'm talking about, man.
Well,
that is awesome.
In the skull, and I was like, I know you
Yep.
love the skulls. And
Man, if you guys
cowboy
can
hat, I was
see this,
yeah, if you're not watching on YouTube, you may want to pull it up. Just you got to see this shirt. Like,
heck yeah, that's awesome.
I was
That
like,
is.
that has Logan's name written on it. It's made in the USA.
Made in the USA. Yep.
Yeah, Ballistic Ink. I don't even know. Obviously, they make T-shirts.
Where'd you find this place?
Man, it was one of those. I was sitting on the couch, like pretending to watch TV, but playing on my phone, and like I scrolled. I don't even know how many pages of T-shirts they have. Like it's hundreds. Like you couldn't even look at them all. Like I finally just had to quit.
Yeah.
But
That Ballistic Ink.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, pages upon pages. Oh, there was. I could have bought a dozen shirts from them. You know,
I'll have to check
some
that
of them are
out.
just corny and goofy, but some of them are like, all right, I gotta have that.
Yeah. Well, I love that. The West wasn't one with a registered gun. That's great, man. No, I appreciate that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, Merry Christmas, and yeah, an American manufacturing company. Yeah, like we always say, shirts and stuff, clothing in general is hard to find made in the USA, but that was one I was like,
Yeah, it is. Especially T-shirts. Yeah, and that's the Bella and Canvas. Actually, some of my okay, we'll see right there. My Comfort Wash, they were made with U.S. grown cotton.
yeah,
But that's one thing when I've had shirts made, I've always tried to get. I had some of these Bella and Canvas. I think it was the American Huntsman because they're made in USA.
yeah.
Man, yeah, that's awesome. Ballistic Ink, ballisticink.com. I guess is that the website?
Yeah, or I'm sure you can just search ballistic ink and
Yeah.
they come up. But
The name alone has got a good kick to it. I like it.
yeah, they got enough designs that unless you're just a raging snowflake liberal, there's some. Now, if you are, there probably is nothing on that website. But
Yeah.
and not all of it's gun related. A lot of it's just like, yeah, more libertarian, small government.
Did you appreciate my meme that I shared on the story there yesterday about the father and son planting their claymores in the yard?
I did. I've ever seen it. I was like, all right, Logan's on a watch list now.
Yeah, they shows the father and son. They're planting, looks like garden or something. It says the father and son plant their claymores in the yard after receiving their third audit letter from the IRS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went on a grand like anti-taxation government rant at work the other day. I don't even know what brought it up, but I just got fired up. And I work with a pretty diverse group of people, and every one of them was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
What?
taxation is theft.
It is, but we just keep
It's
dealing
our
with it.
damn money, and yeah.
we just
We're
keep
I'm
letting
not
them do
going to go on that rant.
Well, hey, and I'm going to add a company too. We're going to have a double whammy here. So this is a company that I had never used before, and I just got their products. I just lifted my truck, and they put a Cognito lift on it. And I got to tell you, that is one bad SOB. That truck, it had a rough country lift on it. It's a 2015 GMC 2500 Sierra 4-wheel drive. I had a 3-inch lift or something on it by rough country, and my CV axles were like this, and it had already broken both, and I had replaced them, and was probably just a matter of time before it was going to break those. It had the angles at such terrible angles. This Cognito lift is bigger. It's a 6-inch, or actually may even be close to 7.5. And the CV axles are sitting like that. Like they're dang near straight across. And it's just a whole lot better lift. It's got upper control arms are different, and it's all made in the USA. And it is built like a tank. Like when the claymores go off in the yard, like I could drive that truck probably across some of those claymores and make it out as the government vehicles don't make it behind me.
Yeah.
And it's got Fox shocks, so like I'll jump some dunes to get away from them as they're wiping off into the pastures.
Yeah.
So Cognito suspensions, and I'll be wearing this ballistic ink shirt with the Cognito suspension, like I'll be ready. So, guys, we do hope you have a Merry Christmas. We're not one of those happy holidays guys. We want you to have a Merry Christmas, and if it offends you, then you're probably listening to the wrong show.
I would guarantee you are.
All right, guys, have a good one. Please leave us a rating and a review, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.